Hey, everybody, welcome to the Break Room with JB. I want to thank you for joining us for episode 6, and we are continuing our Reunited series this week. It's Reunited series number 3 with a very special guest. I know you've heard the promos this week or seen them sent on Facebook, but I will introduce him in just a second. Guys, check out thebreakroomjb.weebly.com. That's where you can find out all the podcasting sites we are listed on. You can get in contact with me and look at any of the news articles that were referenced in any of the episodes. Now, we added last week iHeartRadio, Google Podcast. I think we're up to like 15 different podcasting sites you can check us on. But Apple, guys, I know I see a lot of people, and they're our number one downloaded site, Apple, right now. But unfortunately, if you see an episode dropping, say, on Monday, for some reason, they won't have it available till Tuesday. And if you see me promo one for Friday, it's not going to be available for Saturday. I don't know what's going on with that, but I wanted to give you guys a heads up that if you're excited to check out the new episode, you're going to have to wait a day on Apple. All the other sites, especially Spotify, iHeartRadio, have them up there right away. So you choose however you want to listen. All right, getting to our special guest on the Reunited series number 3. I don't know why he's smiling. He's about ready to burst into laughter right here.
Because you already said getting. Getting to our guest. I just love the fact that you moved down south and you picked some of that stuff up, man. My brother worked in the thoroughbred business.
Well, wait a second. Nobody knows who you are right now, dude. You're getting into a story.
All right, I'm sorry.
Jeez, unbelievable.
I've been chastened. I'm good.
I mean, what?
I am chastened. I am sorry, apologetic.
No, you're fine. I mean, I'm sure everybody can tell from that voice, and I'm just busting your balls right now. So it is the one, the only, the legend of Hudson Valley Radio, Mr. John Tobin. Go ahead. You can tell your story now since I gave you the proper introduction.
I give you the golf thing. Just you. Yeah, you with the getting. I was getting on you about that the other day. When we spoke, you gave me a call. You and I don't talk that much anymore, unfortunately. Maybe a couple times a year, and if I happen to be driving back from New York to Florida, I call you up and I say, "Hey, can I stay at your house overnight?" And you're like, "Sure, come on in." So, even though I guess you don't have any feelings of revenge for me getting you involved in radio.
Oh so, no, are you kidding?
Thankfully, we're still on good terms.
Maybe at one point or another when I had to pawn my guitar to pay a water bill, but other than that,
Right, exactly. Did you play guitar?
No, I bought one to pick it up and learn, and it kind of collected dust, and how things get.
It must have been heartbreaking to pawn that then.
Well, yeah, because your
right
axe,
now, your axe. I know you probably had a real personal connection. You never even played it. You're sitting there trying to get a sob story to go. I was in radio. I wasn't making much money. I had to pawn my guitar, man. I couldn't gig anymore, for a while.
Well, hey, you know what? I have a lot of downtime now. It'd be nice to, pick it up and you go for it in the corner, and then you realize, oh, I'm sad.
It's wood. I don't have the hands for it, man. I unfortunately don't. I don't know what it is. Like my palms are really big. My fingers are like normal, but my palms are big, and my thumb is all the way down here and long. So I just can't get comfortable. So I've been trying for so long, different positions, and I'll take the neck and I'll move it up here and down here and behind me and off my hip. And up off my shoulder and over my head, and Arlo Guthrie style, vertical, and nothing feels right. So my chord transitions are like, they all sound like that.
Now, you're saying here, 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 and here, and all that, making these mannerisms. But, guys, I want to let you know that this is going to be the first episode that we're going to put on YouTube as well. So this is not only going to premiere on all the podcasting sites, but it's going to premiere on YouTube. So when you hear Tobin saying here, 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 you're actually going to see what he's talking about. And on YouTube.
But you'll get that a day later on Apple.
Yeah. Well, that's true, probably.
All right, so back to getting. You were saying get.
See, I don't even know I say that. So
I have another friend who moved to South Carolina, and she had a video. She's out in the yard with her dogs, and she says, "Come on now, get." So I type in. I'm like, "Aren't you from the Bronx? What is get? How long do you have to be down there before people from the Bronx start saying get? Come on, get."
I could just imagine what a person from the Bronx actually says instead of get. That's a heck of a lot later. Yeah.
That's something I bust your balls about. So I was happy to hear it right at the top of this podcast. I'm having a cocktail, by the way.
Oh, go for it. Hey, I don't blame you. Yeah, now, so you're down. Hey, refills. We'll do that at the break.
Okay.
You're down in Florida now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Awesome. How long you been down there?
A couple of years.
Yeah. You liking it better than the old HV or what?
What you miss down here, if you have any sense, you miss hills. You miss how
Yes.
green everything is when
Yes.
springtime hits and the summer. You just don't get that down here. I mean, you got beaches and the ocean if that's your thing. But if that's not your thing, then you're going to miss elevation. The highest, you'll never guess in 100 years, the highest elevation in the state of Florida.
You know what and
It's,
this is no joke. I used to know
it's,
this,
yeah.
and it's only a couple 100 feet if I'm not mistaken,
No,
right?
they wish you would get nosebleeds at a couple hundred feet. It's 53 feet.
Oh,
And
really?
and the screwed up thing is they literally have landfills that are higher than 53 feet.
Do they count then?
They can't count the landfills, I don't think. But
Why not? They claim the reclaimed land they're getting.
I guess so. I don't know. Maybe they can change the distinction, but yeah, 53 feet. That's how flat it is down there. It's amazing.
Wow.
So yeah, you missed that. You missed that about the Hudson Valley.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The summertime and just, real grass. Like Florida doesn't have real grass. It's almost it's like a crabgrassy thing.
And here too in South Carolina, the centipede like grass. Yeah, it crawls along and it's so rough, it's so tough. Yeah.
It's weird. You don't want to lay down in it,
Yes, exactly. It's rough. Yeah, it will hurt you.
It's very strange.
You better be careful.
So that's the kind of thing I miss anyway.
Yeah, me too. I miss the mountains and the seasons and all that. So
right. And
yeah.
pizza, good pizza. You got to really look around to find a good pizza place down here.
Yeah.
Like try. I mean, you have to go to 20 or 25 before you find one that's acceptable.
I know we got like way off track. Since you brought up food, though, I can't find a decent deli, man. I miss going like K&D or just a decent deli walking in.
Down here too. That's
really
the case
okay.
Down here too. Yeah, the delis are in the supermarkets. That's what people use for delis. Occasionally, like up in Boca, Jewish area, you'll have some Jewish delis, but that's not a place you go in and get a slice of ham. I mean, like a pound of ham, especially a pound of ham.
Right.
You don't go in and get pounds of groceries. You go in there for like a sandwich that's like the size of a bowling ball, and that stuff's great. But just like a regular New York style deli, can't find them. So you go to Publix, and man, dude, if you took a Publix deli out of the supermarket, put it on a couple of trucks, and set it in New York in a strip mall, and said, okay, here, you're a deli business in New York. I don't give it a week. They take forever. And
really?
They do this thing with cheese. I don't know what the hell it's about. You order cheese. First of all, they bring you a slice of everything. You order.
Yeah.
Say you order 3 or 4 things, whatever it is. Whatever salami. Okay, boom. They'll take a slice, bring it over in a piece of plastic, bring it over to you. I'm just like, yeah, fine. What is the difference? What are you going to make it? An inch thick? No, you're not going to make it an inch thick. So I'm pretty sure you got it. Within my acceptable parameters, I'm good to go. So don't be showing me the meat. Just get it all done. Give it to me so I can leave. The cheese, they wrap. If you get a pound of cheese, right? That's like 20 or so slices. What do they do it up by you too?
I know what you're gonna. Go ahead. Yes.
They will individually fold plastic over every slice.
Yes.
It's like I don't have 15 minutes to get a pound of cheese.
I know.
It drives you nuts. So yeah, you can't find a deli or pizza. Otherwise, Florida's pretty cool. I've always liked it down here, so I was kind of happy to move down this way.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I mean, I couldn't go that far south, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm roasting right here pretty much in South Carolina, so anything more south, I'd melt my chubby self, if you will. So listen, I want to say thank you, first of all, since I didn't at the beginning, for you to accept this invite to come on with me. I know you haven't been radio for a while, or I don't know if you've done certain things on radio between the time you left and now or so forth, but you can fill us in a second on that. But I got my start in radio because of you. You mentioned that earlier.
Right.
So
we met at a golf course.
Right. Yep. Casper Kill up there. I'll give them plugs. I mean, they shoot. I started working when I was 14, picking the range up there, as a matter of fact. So,
right.
Yeah, we met it there, and I'll be honest with you. Well, since you brought that up, that was a total fanboy situation, by the way, and I don't mean that in any weird way. But I was still in high school, and you were on with Cooper at the time, the Cooper and Tobin show. And I mean, I listened to that every single morning. So I mean, it was like meeting a celebrity, A-class celebrity to me at that time. See, I know you're gonna laugh, but and I'm not trying to butter you up or anything here. I'm just telling you the God's honest truth.
Well,
because
the funny thing is, and I'm going to the golf course, and I'm like an ad golfer, recreational, and I'm looking at like Vince, the assistant pro at the time, and Red, the head pro. I'm looking at them like they're on a PGA tour,
Oh yeah. Yeah, I did too when I was younger.
It's funny, man. It's just weird. You're in an environment, you look up to somebody. It's no big thing.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we started playing golf together there through the time I guess I graduated and so forth, and went away to college. That worked out for about a semester. I pulled my 1.8 GPA. That was awesome. Oh yeah, there was a lot better things to do during that time than go to classes. But coming from an educator now. So I came back and you just kind of said, hey, come on in, hang out, see what it's about. And the rest is pretty much history at that point.
Was that the sequence? You went away to college first?
I went away to college and I came back and hung out a lot. Yeah, started to get involved with the morning show a lot more. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, at that time. Yep. Yeah, because I had nothing going on, kind of no direction at that point. And if it's not word for word, it was just come in and hang out. And hey, yeah, I'll do it. Absolutely. And that just, steamrolled into.
You learned some production.
Yep, did the morning show.
Jumping on the big board and helping out cutting commercials and different sound effects, things like that.
Production, roadie team, which was fun. Did that for, I don't know how long, but yeah. So
that was fun, man. That seems like a million years ago. Well,
doesn't it?
Really?
That was when radio was fun, though, don't you think? I mean, that was kind of like the last gasp, like late 90s, early 2000s.
That's right around the point where the big corporations started to buy. Bill Clinton deregulated something whereby it limited the amount of media properties you could own in a given market.
Mm-hmm.
And then Clinton did away with that regulation. And that opened the door for these huge corporations to come in and start buying up all kinds of stuff. They're called clusters. In radio, they're called clusters, which is a number of stations in a given market, and they have different formats so that they can hit different types of audiences out of one building. That's basically the idea. But yeah, huge corporations are coming in and buying that stuff up and growing. And at one point, Clear Channel probably had close to 1,500 stations.
Oh yeah, they were number one, right?
1,200. Cumulus was which owned WPDH at a certain point. I think from that doesn't really matter, like the early 2000s through 2013, give or take. But the climate totally changed.
Yeah,
totally changed.
They instituted rules, which was no fun at all. So, I mean, before that, it was pretty much do what you got to do. Here, take this. Here, take this. Here, take this.
It was a lot more of a clubhouse feel.
Yes.
Before that, and it wasn't all peace, love, and understanding. People were still babies.
Of course.
That sort of stuff. But yeah, I mean, the corporate stank on anything just makes it a little bit less pleasant, no matter what the industry.
Absolutely. Well, we talked about how I got my start in radio. So I don't know if I've ever asked you this. I think I have kind of an idea, a foggy memory of mine, but how'd you get your start in radio?
It's kind of strange, really. It goes back to, I guess, the 80s. A buddy of mine was a DJ. He did maybe just weekends. I don't even know, weekend overnights. But it was like in our hometown. It ended up being a pretty big station. But at the time, it was brand new. And we used to go and hang out with him in the studio. So I had been in radio studios from being 19, 20 years old, which was, it's kind of like that. I like the vibe of it.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you know the deal.
Yeah.
So then a couple of years go by. One of that group of friends joined the Marines, different guy, but we remained friends a little bit. And he got into doing radio in the Marines. He kind of he jocked the shift on military radio.
Little Robin Williams action, huh?
Right. Yeah. Adrian Cronauer, but not him.
There you go.
So he kept sending me letters. He was in Okinawa and a couple of other spots. He was sending me letters, and he always remembered me as a funny guy, an entertaining guy. And he said, "Look, man, you got to do something with your skills here." I was probably in my, I don't even know, see, 20, maybe late 20s at that point. And he got out of the Marines, and he had always like kind of urged me to do something, and was high on whatever he felt my talent was, which was basically, getting wasted with everybody else in high school and just making everybody laugh.
Yeah.
But he thought maybe I did a little harder than everybody else. Anyway, he's on radio in '89 up in Danbury, Connecticut, in the same building as I-95.
Okay.
The rock station I-95,
Yep.
which had like a full-blown morning show. He was doing oldies on the AM station. But he said, hey, come on up, get involved with these guys, just do some of the stuff you do. And so I basically would do that. It's like a 45-minute ride, no big deal. So I'd drive up and sit in with the morning show. I ended up doing little production for them. I would write little bits and sketches, and I would do phoners. I would phone in as characters. And I ended up getting my first paycheck from that company. It was called Housatonic Broadcasting in Connecticut. They owned I-95. And I would make $12.50 to write a bit, and I would fax. This is before email.
Oh.
I would fax them their half of the script. And just use maybe the very like sort of a hint of what my line would be without giving away the punchline.
Yeah.
So then I would do these characters on the phone with them live on the air, and for that I got $12.50 a bit.
Wow. Gosh.
And then I would go in on the weekends, and I would just, because I could do a bunch of voices and accents and things like that. And I would just cut, random silly stuff. And I got paid $25 an hour for that. I think 2 hours a week on a Saturday. Oh, wow. So that was my first jump into radio. Then I get into stand-up, because the same guy is like, you got to get into, you got to do stand-up, you got to do stand-up, you got to do stand-up. All right. So
see, that's interesting, because I always thought it was the other way around. I thought it was stand-up and then radio.
Well, the radio thing, I wasn't really embraced. It was like I was very much a satellite part of that show.
But still,
almost not even part of it. But what the hell was I?
I'm sorry, you're talking about the stand-up, how the guy kept on saying, you got to do this, you got to do this.
Right.
My fault.
So they're doing one of those big radio promotions, this huge giveaway. They're giving away a trip to Australia from Connecticut.
Wow.
Vacation, you and a friend, Australia. And the gig is they get a banquet room at a hotel, and you have to do a stunt in order to earn the trip. So a bunch of people sign up. I'll do this. I'll do that. People are doing crazy stuff. Like one person had a what did this guy do? He was in a bathing suit, and he was doing push-ups over like dried sea urchins, those spiny.
Oh yeah.
Dude, it's stuck in his chest, and he gets up, and it's hanging off his chest. It's stuck into his flesh. Oh, it was crazy. But the guy who won had his friends turn him into a Bic pen. Again, it's a guy in a bathing suit. They get saran wrap, and they wrap them all up like one of those 19-cent clear Bic pens from back in the day. They have some blue paint in the tray, and they pick him up like a pen. And he shaved his head just for this. He shaved his head. So he shaved his head. They dipped it in the blue paint, and they spelled out on this huge piece of paper, like a 10-foot piece of paper, the word eucalyptus.
No.
Yeah. So he won the trip. So it's like a mad scene. It's just one crazy thing after another. The audience is drinking beers, and they're going nuts. Listeners, radio listeners. So there's like, I'm going to say there's 200-300 of them, maybe 400. It's packed. And the stage is in the middle up on risers where all these stunts are taking place. And the guys that I work with, the jocks, they're kind of emceeing the whole thing. So I decide a couple weeks, if not a month in advance, that this shall be my stand-up comedy debut.
Okay.
And I don't know a goddamn thing. I don't know that you don't do that. Like the most experienced comic in the world would have difficulty in those circumstances. Somebody who is doing comedy for the first time, and mind you, all written Australia jokes, written for that. written for that particular gig. Like, I have no idea if this material works. I don't know that I can perform it. I don't know anything. So it's a freaking disaster. I get up there, people are like, "Ah," screaming stuff out, like getting heckled. I'm just going to do some jokes, man. What are these people all hostile about? But again, they're drinking beers. They couldn't give a damn.
Right.
So I'm trying to do it. It's a complete waste of time. It's a complete waste of time. And I did one thing at the end with a leather jacket, like a sort of like a Guido character. And when I turned around to bail out this disaster by doing this character thing that I knew might work, he was a Guido, but he was the head of the Department of Tourism for New York City.
Oh, jeez.
So that was basically the character. So I turned around to get my jacket, but dudes were setting up, like the people who worked in promotion for the radio station were already setting up for the next thing, for the next stunt.
They knew it was over.
They moved my jacket.
Oh, no.
I turned around and so, it's just a hideous nightmare.
It went from bad to worse, yeah.
Oh, it was brutal, yeah. And then the one thing you have that you think might save it, you turn around and you're like, your costume per se is not there. So it was just a disaster, man. And I didn't do stand-up for another year and a half.
Really?
I was so freaked out by it.
That hurt you so much.
Well, you know, if I knew, it's like, well, what would you expect in that environment? You know, you get drunk people and it's not a comedy club. You're not necessarily the focal point. There's other people on stage moving chairs and props and stuff like that. You've never been in that scenario before. You have 100% brand new material. You don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, why would I anticipate that might go well? So it doesn't. And if I had known all those things, I'd be like, oh, what the hell did I expect? But I thought it would go well. And then when it didn't, I got really freaked out. I lost my courage to go back and do it for a long time.
Well, at least you went back and did it again. I mean, and attempted it and made, you know, a nice hustle off of it.
But you know what? It was, I'll do it in 2 weeks. You know, I'll do it in 2 weeks.
Okay.
I'll do it in 2 weeks. And I did that for 26 or so segments of 2 weeks, if not 30, you know?
Yeah. No, I don't know if you remember, going back, I don't know what year it was or so forth, but I think it was the radio station or Cooper. Somebody used to host these amateur nights and comedy nights. And, you know, me thinking the same way you were when you were just telling this story about how you thought, oh, yeah, it's going to go great. It's going to go great. I mean, I watched other people get up there. I said, oh, yeah, I wrote this down. It's great. I'm laughing at it. It's going to be great.
Wait. Catch me up. You're where? You know us at that point?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You're part of the program?
Not part of the program or the station at this time. Yeah, I think it was more of the morning show when I was doing that part. Yep.
Okay. But now you want to take a swing.
I can't remember where it was. I really don't remember where it was, but I remember I only got one laugh. I mean, it was going so bad. And the only one laugh I got was Coop from the other side of the room when I told the William Shatner joke. This is when he was big. He was doing the Priceline commercials, and his son had that unfortunate accident in the swimming pool at the time. Okay. And the whole punchline of the joke was it should have been William Shatner instead of his son, or, you know, it went on there. And that was the only laugh I got was Cooper's in the background. But that made my night at that point, and I hung it up, and guess what? Never returned.
Right. You got your fill of it.
Oh, I knew when to quit. Absolutely.
You went for the cheese, and the mousetrap went.
Oh, you ain't kidding. That mousetrap was serrated and everything. It was not that nice little bar out there.
Right. So anyway, yeah, a number of years go by. I start doing stand-up, and we're hanging out in White Plains, where I lived at the time. So I'm hitting a lot of the suburban rooms and getting down to the city once in a while. But I started getting paid right away, so there was no need for me to go down to the city.
Yeah.
Because I had an act I was getting paid to do. So I would hit Pennsylvania and Jersey, Connecticut, and once in a while Massachusetts, Rhode Island, but typically Connecticut, Jersey, New York, Long Island. So not that Long Island's not in New York. But Hudson Valley. I was doing a Wednesday night in the Hudson Valley in Newburgh. I forget the name of the place. Might have been Shenanigans.
That
It was
sounds
a
familiar.
little bit. It was on 9W, a little bit south of the city of Newburgh, a couple miles. And it was a Wednesday night, and I was the feature on the show. I wasn't the headliner, but the headliner lived in Long Island, and he didn't feel like schlepping up to the Hudson Valley from Long Island. But I was like,
Gotcha.
yeah, I'll go in because I remember I used to have fun doing radio in Connecticut years before.
Yeah.
The guy who called me was Rick Zolzer.
Oh, get out of here.
Zolzer was the guy making the calls. I don't know him from Adam. He calls me up. He's like, hey, would you be interested in coming up and doing, the morning show, before this gig? And I said, yeah, sure. I'd love to. I was living in White Plains. Poughkeepsie was like 65 miles.
Yeah.
I didn't care. I used to drive up, like I said, I used to drive up to Connecticut for free before I started getting that little tiny stipend. But I said, this will be fun. Jump in the car. I go up there. We promote the Wednesday night show, cracking some jokes, hanging around. I'm there for a while. Got in trouble my very first day on the air. Had some guy call up and complain. There was something. Yeah.
Poughkeepsie?
Yeah. My very first day on PDH got a little controversial. Not a huge deal, but there was a story, might have been a news story, I forget, about a local fire, and the volunteer fire department showed up, and they were able to save a cat with some mouth to mouth. So I said, how drunk did the cat get? And,
Yeah.
And like this guy calls up, hey man, I hope there's never a fire in your house and we don't have to come and save you because we're not gonna, all that stuff.
Oh my God.
I'm like, dude, no, I get it. But I mean, that was my very first day there. He said something a little bit off base and got some backlash immediately.
That was one of the days that you kind of said, oh my gosh, I got to be that stand up on the hair type of days where you're like, oh geez, did I jeopardize something? Did I,
there was nothing to jeopardize.
Yeah, but did you? That's what I'm asking. That's what I'm asking. You didn't feel that way? That wasn't one of those moments? All right.
No.
I mean, it wasn't. It didn't carry that weight. No, I mean that was a silly little joke and funny joke. I mean, but
I'm a comedian. When you get, that's how we think. We
right.
think like, hey, here's the opportunity to say something. It's probably a little bit wrong. No filter. Here it goes.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do? Not live like that? You have to live like that.
Yeah.
And again, you don't go too far. And things have certainly changed in that area, how far you can go. Creep over the line. Maybe you got to stay on the bottom side of the line these days.
Yeah.
I don't know. People get upset just for the sake of being upset. But that's a whole nother discussion. Anyway, I had a good time with those guys. Zolls and Wolf and Mad Mike Colvin were on the show. And, we kicked it pretty good. We had a good time. So they said, hey, you live an hour away. So anytime you want to come up, come on up. And again, remembering that I used to do this 4 or 5 years before, going up to I-95 in Connecticut, I said, yeah, what the hell? So every other week or so, I'd jump in my car down to White Plains and drive up to Poughkeepsie and do the show with those guys. And, after a few months, they offered me a full time.
Rest is history. Yeah. I mean, shoot, I know you started there with the Wolf. I forgot Zolzer was on that show with the Wolf way back when. Actually, I just touched base with him the other day, so he might be on a future episode here on
with
the Break
Zolls
Room.
or
So,
Zolls
yeah,
or Wolf?
Zolls.
Okay.
Yeah, I reached out to him. So,
okay, I'll put you in touch with Wolf if you want.
Oh boy. Those are stories for another day, perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, geez, you just reminded me of an incident. All right. So, anyways, we're gonna take a.
He's a character for sure.
Oh yeah, you ain't kidding. We're gonna take a quick break here on the Break Room with JB with our special guest on the Reunited series number 3, John Tobin, otherwise known as JT, or just plain old Tobes from Hudson Valley Radio Lore. So we're gonna take a quick break here on the Break Room, JB. And on the flip side, we're going to talk about the Cooper and Tobin days and, something I got from a former, how do I say this? I don't want to say co-host, but a former morning show member had something interesting to say, and I wanted to get Tobin's take on it. So we'll be right back here on the Break Room with JB. All All right, we're back here on the Break Room with JB and the Reunited series number 3, and actually episode number 6. I can't believe we've gotten this far, and we're growing every single week. And we have our special guest who just took off the glasses because I guess he wanted to look younger.
I don't know. Did I have him on before?
You had him. Gosh, now you're throwing me through a loop, man. I don't remember. But anyways, our special guest for the Reunited series number 3, John Tobin. Tobin from the Cooper and Tobin Show up in the Hudson Valley. So before, in segment number 1, we were kind of talking about a bunch of different things, how we met, your start in radio, my start in radio, just a whole bunch of different things, kind of, hodgepodge into one. You did mention one of your kind of nervous moments on the air about the your first day, anyways, about the kitten that got rescued by the firemen and the joke you said and so forth. But I want to know, was there
only because there was backlash? No, I just mentioned that because I experienced backlash my very first day on the air, where somebody got pissed off and called up and said, if my house was burning down, they wouldn't come and save it.
Well, I wish I could tell you the story that, I said in college radio that got some backlash, but that would probably get me even more in this time of day. Anyway, so since you said that really, was just a joke or something, was there a moment, though, that was like your absolute worst on air? Not behind the scenes, not anything with any coworkers or anything, just on air. Was there a worst, and was there maybe a best moment?
It was in the studio, but it wasn't really on the air. It was off the air.
Okay.
And this is one of my favorite stories. I don't know how much I can tell because the language.
That's what I'm saying.
The language got a little bit crazy.
Well, do your best, and I can label this episode as explicit.
You know what, Junior? I don't even know if I could tell this story.
All right.
Do you know the story with the comedian Lisa Lampanelli?
Oh my God! Yes, I know exactly what you're going to talk about.
That's
initials are DL.
Yeah, the story's a little rough, but that is officially my favorite story, only because the punchline is so amazing, and I hate to deprive anybody of it.
I think I was working in production at that time, and just to kind of set the stage for everybody, when I was walking in, I think Lisa was being escorted out just a few minutes beforehand of the building, so you can kind of guess something went down.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Really?
Wasn't she pretty much? I thought she was kind of tossed after that.
I don't remember. We had one female comic get tossed. I think, in fact, I've been trying to think of her name.
I thought it was her. I thought the uppers came down.
I think that was Beth Cunningham, who used some very salty language on the air. And we were live. This is before we had delay technology. So it got out, and it was fairly rough. I think she got thrown out. Lampanelli, I don't remember because the stuff with Dan Logan, a psychic guest of ours,
yes,
that happened off the air.
Okay.
It was just oh my God, it's so freaking funny. I wish I could tell it.
Oh no, I know exactly what you're talking about. I forgot all about that.
Well, I'll tell part of it. I'll tell you can
do whatever. You can do whatever. Make the call. I mean, like I said, I can throw this label as explicit, whatever. You decide how far you want to go, and if you want to use any substitutes for language. About that. Okay. You do that.
Dan Logan was a psychic, and he used to come in and do our show once a week, and it was a fairly popular segment. And people would call up and ask him various things. Do you think I'm going to get this job? And normally he was positive, but he was temperamental, and he liked to get angry about things. So
I'm sorry, I'm just picturing him in my mind right now.
He would sit in this particular chair every time he came in, which was once a week, typically on Friday. So I ended up developing this other character called Land Dogan. I should have set this up before. Maybe it'll still work. Land Dogan was created because Dan took great liberties with punctuality.
Oh gosh, yeah.
He was never on time. And when you're doing any type of show business endeavor, TV, radio, whatever, you promote things. They're supposed to start on time. People are supposed to be in place. They get executed when they are. There's a schedule.
Yep. Yeah.
He couldn't have cared less. he always had some reason why he was late, and this happened, and I saw a snowflake and a bear cross the road,
He
whatever
was
it
the
was.
big star. He was the big star.
Whatever. I'm not even saying he was being a prima donna, but you're
No.
just consistently late,
Yeah.
and you end up on the air treading water. This is kind
Waiting,
of
yeah.
this is pre-cell phone, sort of. Some people had phones, but it wasn't like, hey, I'm running a little bit late, so we didn't know. But here we are, the 10th time that he's showing up, not there on time. So I say, all right, well, I'll take some calls. And I just developed this character on the spot, Landogan, which was him at a flamboyancy factor of 100.
I remember that, yeah.
And he wrote plays too, like the character that I created, Landogan. Dude, I used to take calls. People used to roll because I would take calls, and Dan would take calls with like medical questions, like, Dan, I had this condition, or I'm having an operation. How's it going to turn out? And he would go, and I do believe he had an actual gift.
He did.
I will confirm that he had an actual gift.
I mean, I'll back you up on that too. I've spoken with him in not private, but I mean off the air and so forth. And there's some things that he said like, holy cow, okay.
Right, exactly. Yeah, he blew me away a couple times with stuff in my personal off-air life.
Yes.
That were just like, holy damn. All right. So I do believe he has some sort of gift of perception. So he would take these medical questions and he felt comfortable doing it. When I was taking the calls as his character, and I only did this as revenge for him sticking us by being late all the time, that's how I started doing this character, thinking that maybe he's going to hear it on the way down and say, I better start getting in there on time.
Yeah,
or else this jackass is going to start doing this character. So it was really just to prompt him to make his way in.
But I remember, since you mentioned Landogan there.
Oh, wait.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, I was letting you take a sip there, so I was gonna. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So that had been going on for a long time, several months, and I used to take calls, and people would call up, and they thought I was real, and the joy was that 99% of the audience knew that I was completely a character.
Right.
And 1% would call up for psychic advice.
Yeah.
So that's what was so funny to people.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I was going to mention while you're taking a drink. I mean, I love how the audience knew it was fake and would call up with these ridiculous, stupid questions just to play into the character.
Once in a while, but these were sincere people that wanted psychic advice. And
I'm saying most of the audience, though. Most of the audience.
Well, no, the audience was in on the joke. That's what was great about it.
Yeah.
But the audience weren't the ones calling. Every once in a while, somebody would call up and do a goofy thing, but typically it was people that wanted to know things.
Yeah,
they wanted to know what their future was going to be, vis-a-vis, some narrow shift in their existence. Anyway,
I don't know how you can hear that voice, Landogan, and think, oh yeah, this guy's going to give me real advice. I mean, come on now.
Where's my coffee? He was so like not human.
Yes.
And we had a lot of fun, man. Like literally, you're on the air.
Oh gosh.
4 hours a day for, I don't know, 250 shows a year, 1,000 hours a year. You're just hanging with people you like, who make you laugh, and you're goofing around.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of fun things. But if you want to talk about gratifying, you don't realize until people tell you that the show meant a lot to them to have in their lives at given low points. And I've been approached a number of times. In fact, and I've been off the air for a number of years, and I still had somebody say something on Facebook not 2 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's in this vein. But people would say, "Hey, man, I was at a real low point in my life. Some real bad stuff was going on, and just listening to your show in the morning on my commute gave me a couple laughs and got me through the day." Yeah. And you hear that enough times, and it's very rewarding, because you don't even realize you're doing that for people.
Right.
You don't. You're on your side of the mic, And yeah, you're always conscious of the audience, of course. That's how you end up being successful at it. But you don't realize that you're hey, you know what? Somebody's like really down and maybe on the edge, or and this is like the difference between them going lower or maintaining and setting a floor that they can now rebound off of.
You don't understand you're making like an impact. You're there to make people laugh and enjoy, but the impact,
Right. Exactly.
And I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, gosh, if I didn't drive, and showing your age, I'm sorry, and mine at this time, but I mean, driving to school, I'd go pick up a few friends, and every single morning we had, the Cooper and Tobin show on. That was our enjoyment on the ride to school, our thing we looked forward to, and we would laugh, our tails off on the way to school. And it was that we look forward to that every morning. And nowadays, yeah, you can't find any of that. And to be honest with you, nowadays people need that. People need that in this world that's going on right now, a distraction to just put all the PC garbage away and just, be real, be human. I don't know how I'd say it, but just be real. Just be real, you have these morning zoos out there, and you know what I'm talking about as far as that goes. But the cookie cutter, yuck factories. But
we always made fun of those shows,
right? And that's what I'm saying.
Mikey Colvin used to do these characters that the name was so literal. We called the name of these characters the over the top hacks.
Now they say, yeah, exactly.
And we would just break into these things and, hey, you talking about guys, you got a couple of songs from Boston coming up. Can't get enough of that Boston. And then we'd both say, Boston. And just all kinds of, that's called puking in the professional parlance. That style is called puking. Hey, we got some tickets to give away coming up right now. Yeah.
Where they would write out like 5 minutes before the little thing they're going to say that ties into the song or whatever they're going to, and they think they're clever. Yeah. Get the laugh out of themselves.
We had such a good time destroying people that, performed in that particular fashion. And I don't think Coop ever liked it very much. I worked with Wolf too. Wolf didn't like it when Mikey and I would just busted. We would just do it for like minutes, 3 minutes on end. Hey, what do you say? We were Buzz and Zip were our names. Buzz and Zip. Hey, Buzz. Hey, Zip. What do you say? Oh, okay, great. Hey, we got some great tunes coming at you right now.
Well, if you look at you just reminded me of The Simpsons. If you look at The Simpsons or any of the old cartoons, they would, when they had their radio, I guess episodes or brought in the radio shows, and that was it right there. That over the top, that stupid little zoo thing.
Yeah, it's hideous. It's hideous. Yeah. I never listened to a single show that was ever constructed that way. I hate that style. I hate it. So we used to kill those guys.
Well, I'll tell you what, I got one for you. I'll tell you during the break here, we're going to take in just a second, that I've been listening to that's not that hacky, so forth. But you mentioned, since you mentioned Landogan, I wanted to ask you when we come back from the break about the characters, because you were also known, I should say, but you were known a lot for your characters on the air. And I wanted to get into a couple of those and ask you your opinion on the ones you played over the years. So we'll be right back. Yeah, we'll be right back here on the break room with JB and our special guest, John Tobin.